My name is Wilson Smith, and I'm a footwear designer, a product designer with Nike. I've been at Nike 28 years, and at this point I feel like I'm more of an advisor, more of a leader in the company for direction of product. About the hardest aspect of footwear design, oftentimes I would say in any kind of creative field, it's trying to figure out when you're going to get that aha moment, when you know that it's right. And that can be a very nebulous time. That can happen in the next 5 minutes, that could happen in 5 days, it may not happen for quite a while. And so then at some point in time, if it never happens, then you kind of need to say, okay, well, what can I work with? Hardest parts is really coming up with that initial concept, and then once you have that, then the rest of it can be pretty quantifiable. The architecture line says form follows function. I would say in our case it's more like form elaborates on function. Now, when I think about what is my favorite shoe that I've worked on, I want to talk to you about a shoe called the Air Flare, which we made for Andre Agassi. And I worked in the tennis line throughout the 90s. I was kind of like thought of as Mr. Tennis was kind of my deal. And I worked a lot with Andre Agassi. This is a signature shoe of his. He actually signed it here. When I designed the shoe, I wanted to kind of express the way that I saw Andre as a guy of real contrast, kind of like, and so we ended up where the top of the shoe was completely different than the bottom of the shoe. Yet I was also kind of inspired by the fact that he wore a mid-cut shoe, but I wanted to kind of make it look more like a low top, so I kind of cut it off and made it look a little lower, so it could almost like disappear like a low top. There's all sorts of the history of design that really inspires me. A lot of car design, art history, looking outside the box. When I think of like an outlier in terms of, say, what I've had an opportunity to do at Nike, I feel it's very similar almost to what I've seen in some of these Steve Jobs stories, because I think things happen, circumstances happen, and you just kind of build on circumstances. I don't really think that, honestly, the work that I've done at Nike has been nearly as profound as, say, at Tinker Hatfield. And of course, Tinker's amazing work probably doesn't really align all the way to say what a Steve Jobs has done, although I think Tinker's done a lot of great work, and I'd say it's close. I think that my work has not quite achieved to that level by no means, but I do think that you're building on your circumstances, and you're building on the things that line up around you, and if you just pay attention, if you just pay attention to what's going on around you, you can begin to step from one rung to another to another.